All right, good evening, everyone. Hope all of you are staying safe and are ready for your Symbiosis interview. We'll quickly begin. We'll begin in a couple of minutes. We're waiting for others to join as well. If in case others have not joined and you know they were supposed to be in this session, please drop down a message in your groups asking them to join. In the meanwhile, I'll quickly share my screen. All right. Hi, Dev. Hi, Gopal. Karan. Hi, Harsh. Hi, Satya. Hi, Riddhi. Hi Sudeep. Hi Calista. Hi Aditya. Right, so this session is basically about the symbiosis law interviews. Now, a lot of you have already gotten the interview calls. So, of course, the examination as it is was not that difficult, but the cutoffs have, of course, increased expectations. So we have seen a lot of students who worked really hard still couldn't get the PI calls. But for those of you who have received it, all the very best. And today you will definitely take something back and prepare more so that you can crack the interviews which are scheduled henceforth. Now, before we begin, you are supposed to understand a few very basic things. The interview will not judge your preconceived knowledge of law because they have already tested it in the form of the entrance which you gave. So, of course, they will be asking you a few academic questions, but more or less, the entire idea is to judge how you are as a student, how consistent you are, how punctual and how determined you are to do and pursue law. Right, so we will be discussing a few kind of sample questions and the way you are supposed to structure these answers so that you can do well in these interviews, right? So of course this is the idea is not to be dishonest. The first thing which you'll have to keep in mind is you are there and they will want reasons for you to get in their college. So the first thing which you'll be doing there is to be honest, to be as honest as possible because it matters. They are not judging you in terms of law because of course they know that you have come here after cracking an entrance examination. So that itself was the judge of your knowledge. So here the idea is to just see how honestly, how candidly, how clearly you articulate your thoughts, whatever is going on in your head. How comfortably can you go ahead and speak it or rather express it in the interview, right? So these are the fundamental skills which the university looks at. Communication, the first thing is that. Now, I know a lot of you have problems in communicating in English, but nevertheless, they also know that you have your entire life to improve that. So they will not be judging you in that. Communication is extremely important. And if you have good communication skills, you should, you know, for sure use it. But in case for those of you who do not have that great communication skills, it doesn't matter. You can initially ask whether they want you to continue in English. If they are comfortable in going ahead with Hindi, you can do that as well. But one thing is for sure, that expressing is something which they are testing. So communication is usually through a language. In India, whenever you will be graduating, of course you will be expressing or articulating your thoughts in the language which is English. English. Therefore, they would be testing you in this. But regardless, if you are not that great, you can initially ask whether they would be interested, or if you can continue in Hindi, if that is a huge problem and if that is something which sort of hampers your confidence. But whatever you're communicating, the first thing with which you will have to approach each sentence will be with confidence. So be honest, be pure, communicate whatever you feel is relevant. That will do the trick. Management is something, of course, which they also look at. So they will be asking you questions to understand whether you'll be able to manage your time there or not, whether you'll be with the academic rigor, with the kind of, see, the thing is, of course, when you go to college, there are a lot of things going in your head. It could be related to academics, it could be related to sports, it could be related to multiple other things. It's just that the best students are always those who are able to manage their time well. So, of course, there will be questions in which you will be asked whether you have any traits, or you can give them some examples to show that you manage your time really well. Ability to use numbers is not something which they are going to ask. Of course, this will be more useful for people who are pursuing BBA. Current affairs, current topics is something which they will be interested in asking, especially if it has happened in the recent past, through recent cabinet reshuffle, or various states going ahead and curbing the number of child a family can bring up, or basic concepts like Pegasus or the Olympics. Anything can be asked. So make sure that you are abreast with the recent current affairs. Thinking in common sense is something which they, of course, would want to understand whether you think clearly or not. So do not cloud your answers with too many elements. It's a very simple interview, guys. You're just supposed to speak what they are asking. So do not deviate and put too many things on the plate. Be simple, be succinct, be normal. That will be more than sufficient, right? These are the other things: positive attitude, behavior, responsibility, adaptability, readiness to learn, so on and so forth. We will be discussing them in the form of questions and where can these characteristic skills be assessed. But you'll get a better picture when I put questions in front of you. So yeah, these are the few things which you'll have to keep in mind. So formals is the first thing which you'll have to do. Make sure that you have a formal dress with you, and that's neatly pressed. Make sure that you have a decent laptop and internet connection. Be humble, and be slightly friendly. Have some ready greeting right at the outset of the interview. Maintain eye contact. That is another very important point. I have been taking a lot of mock PIs, and I do see that whenever a student is not looking at me, I have this certain apprehension that they might be taking out or figuring out from the internet. So do not do that, figuring out answers from the internet. Make eye contact, appropriate eye contact. That will seal the deal. Make sure that you are looking at them while they are speaking, and while you are speaking, right? Be a little friendly. You don't need to be very serious. Of course, this is not a very tense or formal conversation which you would want to have. Try and be as friendly and possible. Have a decent body language. Keep your copy of resume handy, and listen. The other important thing which we keep on forgetting is that it's your interview. So you are supposed to listen and mold the questions on your strengths. So we'll be discussing how you're supposed to approach the questions. But these are the few things which you are supposed to keep in mind. Be friendly. Make sure that you have your ears ready for the questions. Make sure that you give ample time to the interviewer to complete the question, and only then start with your answer. Make sure that you understand the question properly, because a lot of times what happens is we go ahead and jump the gun. Instead of understanding the question properly, we go ahead and jump the gun, and that makes us look very stupid. You do not want to repeat that gaffe in your interview. All right. Muskan, it could be both. It could be Indian as well. That is not a problem. All right, let's move ahead. Yes, and the answers, of course, should be succinct and concise. Do not be too lengthy. We will be discussing a few questions, and I'll be asking you to prepare 2 3 line answers for that. Make sure that you seek help of your mentors while preparing these answers, or if not, make sure that you are showing these answers to somebody who can make you prepare. But do not be very lengthy in the interview. They do not want to know each and everything. Just be succinct, be short, be crisp. Right, and of course, pleasantries are supposed to be there. Yes, this is again something which you'll have to keep in mind. They are more experienced than you, they are slightly smarter than you, so they will know when you're cooking or when you're lying. Do not lie, do not bluff, especially when it comes to academic questions. You're supposed to understand that these people are usually double your age, somewhere around 35, 40. So you will be in a problem if you go ahead and lie. Do not lie. Please be honest. Whatever you know, whatever information you have, just go ahead and speak it out. Would not be a problem. The second thing which we at times tend to do, not at all times, but the situation rather goes ahead and makes us do, is argument. Do not, if you are projecting yourself, or you are going ahead with certain point of yours, if the interviewer is disagreeing, you cannot push it beyond a certain level. Only back it up if you have sure information, right? Do not get into an argument. That will be a problem. Know where till when you can push a specific point of view, right? Of course, cooking up a story is again not advisable. And don't panic. Take a deep breath. Even if you do not know the answer, make sure that you're taking deep breaths, nice inhale and exhale, before going ahead and talking about a particular point of law or a particular answer. Yes, pretension and lies are, of course, not wanted, and of course, cell phone. Yes, so let's go ahead and discuss some questions which they ask. So, the first thing, of course, will be your introduction. So, when I talk about introduction, this will include basic name, your school, what are your subjects, who are there in your family, and your achievement. Now, always remember, guys, when you are going ahead with an interview, try and divert or tend to sort of take the interviewer to your strengths. So when you are finishing this introduction with something which has really interested you, what you're doing is you are asking this interviewer to question you on that, because he knows that this is something on which you have worked on. So it could be academic, co-curricular, sports activity which you are interested in, but do mention it, right? So make sure that you are mentioning some passion, something in which you are inclined or interested in at the very outset. What it will do is it will take the interviewer to something in which you're confident about, to something which is your strength. So make sure you do that, right? Of course, the other thing is to be focusing on your strengths. Now, always remember there will be instances in which you will be exposed to say something which are your weaknesses. Try and avoid those. Although it is advisable to go ahead and honestly express however you feel about yourself. It could be strengths and weaknesses, but try and limit the conversation to your strengths, because the connected question you will be able to answer, right? So this is something which you'll have to understand. Try and be a little smart, especially when it comes to subjective questions, which has the capability of the interviewer taking you to a very different genre in which you have absolutely no clue about. Do not do that. Stick to your strengths. Whatever you are saying, try and elucidate with as many examples as possible. Try and exemplify it with as many experiences as you have given. Now, right. So enough of the gyan which I wanted to give initially. We will go ahead and practically talk about the kind of questions which Symbiosis is capable of asking. So, of course, at the very outset, they're going to test you on your introduction. You're supposed to give your basic introduction and your strengths and not your strength. It could be something which you have achieved. So, academic, sports, co-curricular, anything which you have achieved. Make sure that that's a part of your introduction. Do not make it too lengthy. Make sure that it is a 2-3 liner introduction, not more than that, not less than that. uh, Now, having said that, how many staple answers can you prepare? Now, guys, always remember it's better to rehearse before going ahead and taking the actual interview, right? So, what kind of questions can come? The first thing, of course, will be introduction. Second could be why law, right? Now, when you are asked why law, you are supposed to be giving an answer which is aligned to your interest and law helping you, right? So it could be any dream of yours through which or rather which can be made only if you study law, or law is acting as a bridge between your dream and you, right? So the answer has to be aligned with the vision which you have seen for yourself. So it could be anything. It could be your ability to help people. It could be your basic articulation. It could be your argumentative nature. But figure that out. These are staple questions and they will definitely ask, especially for people who have shifted from science or commerce. They will be asking you, why have you chosen arts from science? So make sure that you prepare the staple answer wherein you are showcasing that I, as a person, would be really happy doing law, because the dream of mine, the vision of mine which I have seen, the bridge is law. Or in case you have not seen any vision, make sure that you are stating that law is something which has really inspired me, or has that connect in which I think my skill sets are aligned to. But make sure that you are putting in some element which has you in present and law. That means that law will be completing you as a person and as your intellect, right? So make sure you do that. That's the second question which is generally asked. The third question could be why us, as in why Symbiosis. So in that you're supposed to prepare, as in you're supposed to research about Symbiosis. So it could be Pune, it could be Noida, it could be any other campus, but make sure that you are researching about it very exhaustively, because it's extremely important for us to know where we are going. So, and that actually exudes a seriousness and determination to be there, and for that, whatever preconceived work I am supposed to do, I'm doing it. So make sure that you go ahead and check out their site, make sure that you know their vision and motto, and make sure that you know a little bit about their curriculum, because that will really add value in terms of your answer. So whenever they're asking why Symbiosis, so of course you say that this is a college which has so and so motto. Its vision is inclined with my skill sets. Also, the kind of subjects which you guys teach is something which I'm really interested in that. And for that, you'll have to check out the curriculum. So make sure that you're doing that as well. What else? They will be asking the strengths and weaknesses of yours as well. So make sure whenever you are talking about your strengths, do not boast. Try and be very normal. Try and give that characteristic trait and exemplify it with a example. So for instance, if you say that I am a very disciplined person, so exemplify it, illustrate it with an example. Your answer should be complete. Just do not talk about you as adjectives. Make sure that you're giving real time examples as well. And of course, I'm not asking you to make things up, but then every person has that characteristic trait. So figure that out. What is your strength? What is something which you really like doing? And that will really help you. Uh, they also want to know your weaknesses, because that shows that you are prone and you're normal and you're humane. So make sure that you have that weakness as well, and just go ahead and tell them that I'm working on it. So for instance, if you have ego problem, if you're short tempered, if you do not make friends easily, if you do not like talking to people. It's okay to be abnormal or having that weakness, but what they're looking at is, have you the ability to work on your weaknesses? So make sure that you're seeing that, and then illustrate it in through an example, that yes sir, this is my weakness, but I'm aware of it, but I'm working on it. I'm trying really hard that this weakness is extricated from my approach. Right. Then, of course, they might talk something about your past achievements. So, again, and this could basically flow from the introduction which you have given, in which you have talked about your academic, sports, and extra co-curricular achievements. So, it could be leadership skills. It could be something which you have exuded and you are really happy about. And trust me, guys, it is not important how small is your achievement. And by small, I don't mean magnitude. I don't mean anything. Even if that achievement is giving you satisfaction, that's enough. Even if you uh, going ahead and say uh, getting a certain percentage of marks which really makes you happy, it's okay. Just say that, so I perceive myself as really weak in academics, but I have somehow gotten this and this percentage. Even if becoming a football team captain or playing football could be something which you might boast as an achievement, that's okay. Just be truthful. I still remember me giving an interview while I was preparing for my PPO, and they asked me. I was more of a sports student. I told them I didn't know how to play badminton, and I went ahead and played professionally back in my university. And this made me believe that regardless of where I am in my life, if I work on something, I'll be able to do it. So they were really surprised that how can how can you go ahead and defeat a national player. So it's just that, and it was a very small feat for the entire world, but it was very important for me because I didn't know that I had a small thing like badminton in me, and they selected me. So they're not looking for big achievements like you have, you have won the science Olympiad in India, you have represented the country in various MUNs. Of course, if you have, of course, that will be something which you can boast. But for people who do not have too many things in life, small things also, if that gives you satisfaction, if that gives you that you have done something successful, it really means something. Make sure that you have that backing. Make sure that why did you feel that this is something which was really successful, which was really important. But make sure that you go ahead and talk about even the smallest of things which you have achieved. So you should have that staple answer as well, whatever achievement you have. So yeah, 6 7 questions, starting from introduction, your vision and why law, why Symbiosis. So study about the college, study about the pedagogy. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Also, they might ask you, why do we select you? Now, this question is actually related to, why do you want to get into Symbiosis? So the moment you say that, they also expect you to answer that, why should we choose you? So your answer should always include an element of alignment, right? So whenever you are saying, or whenever you are asked that why should we select you, you say things, or you say that your skill set is aligned to your university's vision. You study about their curriculum, you study about their placements, you study about some of the people who have basically studied there. But the what they're looking for is some content, and that alignment of your skill set with the college, right? So that is something which you'll have to do. Of course, you are not supposed to, the question wherein you could be asked your long-term vision, do not be very specific that I want to become, say, a managing partner of Luthra and Luthra, or I want to become the, you know the chief justice of a high court. You cannot say that. Why? Because these are very specific points. You can of course say that I want to get into corporate, I can get into judiciary, I can get into UPSC. All of that is fine, but don't be very specific. What they're testing you is, are you real in terms of your vision, is all they are saying, is all they are asking. So whatever you are saying, and they will ask you a corollary question as well, wherein they will be asking whether you have done prior research with the vision which you have for yourself after 5-10 years. So make sure that if you are, so for instance, if they ask you where do you want to go, and your answer, and you are really inclined towards corporate, so figure out a few forms. Maybe you can look at their placements, maybe you can look at their work, live law, or बार एंड बेंच में बहुत सारी आर्टिकल्स में आप देखते हो how the partners keep on getting shifted from one firm to another, and how they have handled these cases, be it mergers, acquisition, be it any civil case, any criminal case, so on and so forth. So elucidate with a few examples. What they're asking you is, whatever your vision or whatever your future is, you have some knowledge about it. They would not be testing. अब जैसे मेरा मान लो तुम्हारा आंसर है कि भाई I want to fight cases in law, right? So you should know that there's a stream called litigation, in which you go ahead and take up case laws in the country, and you are representing a client in front of a judge. So basic things ही पूछ रहे हैं, ज़्यादा नहीं पूछने वाले हैं, but make sure that you are illustrating your answers with few examples which are connected to your life. Ultimately, what they are looking is a determined and a consistent personality which is really interested in joining them. Another interesting question could be, if you are given an option of joining some better university. So, for instance, if you have already, gone ahead and gotten a seat in one of the top five NLUs, and you are still applying for this interview, what will your answer be? So, in that case, if you are really interested in joining Symbiosis Noida, just go ahead and say it out loud that yes, I am interested in joining Symbiosis Noida or Symbiosis Pune because of proximity or various other reasons. But just be honest. उसमें भी उनको पता है कि अगर तुम्हें आंसर हैदराबाद मिलेगा तो of course you would not come to Symbiosis Noida. So this of course they know, they're not stupid. But at times student they they just go ahead and say कि नहीं सर मतलब regardless of जो भी है मैं इधर ही आऊँगा. So do not do that. Be honest. Whatever you want to. If at all there are two competitions or two relatable colleges. So, for instance, a top 10 NLU and Symbiosis Pune. Of course, you say that I'm really interested in joining Symbiosis Pune because of proximity, because of its curriculum, because of its placement, because of Pune as a city, all of that. Some other questions which could be asked is your knowledge about Pune and Maharashtra in general. So थोड़ा बहुत उसके बारे में रिसर्च कर लेना. महाराष्ट्र के बारे में जो मोटा मोटी रिसर्च हो सके. So which party is ruling it, who is the chief minister, who is the governor, any recent news which you have heard about Maharashtra, and study a little bit about your own locality as well. So wherever you are located, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Ranchi, Patna, wherever you are, make sure that you know something about your place as well and the people who are heading the administration there. So these are the questions which can be asked, and these are the few things which you are supposed to keep in mind. One other question which can be asked is relocation. So, for instance, you put up somewhere in east, right, and you have applied for Symbiosis Noida. So they will ask you whether relocation will be a problem for you. So you can be really honest about it. You can say that yes sir, I might have some problems, but I'm ready to accept challenges as I've always been, and elucidate it with a few examples if possible. But yes, prepare that answer as well. Why do you think you'll be able to relocate to a new place? Right. I think that will be it up in the questions which are subjective, so which have multiple answers. Apart from it, of course, you can be tested on academics as well, especially relevant law. So make sure that you are revising constitution thoda sa, because that is where they start asking questions from. So fundamental rights ka thoda bahut, union and territories, citizenship, thoda definitely go ahead and check. And make sure that you're preparing your favorite subject as well. So they just might ask which one is was your favorite subject. So it could be business studies, it could be any subject in arts, it could be a science subject, and expect questions from that as well. So these are the few things which you are supposed to work on. Make sure that whatever you are saying has valid backing. Do not beat around the bush. Do not say things which you do not mean. Try and be as honest as possible. If you do not know too many things, it's okay to say no, but don't start cheating or do something which basically challenges the intelligence of the interviewer, because that is really that is something which the interviewer doesn't want. Right, so these were the few things which you are supposed to take care of. uh, right. So joining the course, biggest achievement in life. Yeah. Apart from it, of course, do prepare for general discussions related to current affairs. So that is something which you would want to do, and that is something you can be asked. So the last 2 months current affairs will suffice, but make sure you're doing it. Make sure that you're going ahead and checking out the college website, because it is extremely important. Make sure that you are going ahead and checking out their curriculum, as in what are they going to teach you in the next 5 years, because this is half a decade which we are talking about. So it is extremely important for you to know where you will be spending your time in the next 5 years. All right, so this was a small PI push or tips basically for the personal interview round which is scheduled for you guys. If you want to ask any questions, go ahead and please write it down on the chat box. I'll be more than happy to assist you. Karthik asks, is it necessary to keep smiling while answering? Karthik, if you can, it would be amazing. Trust me on this. Smile has absolutely, huge influence in front of whosoever you are doing it. So you can do it. So I've been shortlisted, but I've not received my PI letter till now. Does that mean I haven't been invited for PI? Anshika, you can check with the official website once. You were supposed to, yeah, book a interview time and the date. So, एक बार just call the authorities, mail them. They will definitely help you. Aditya Singh says you can frown too. Yes, not really. Aditya, try and be as friendly as possible. You don't want to be identified as somebody who has negative traits. So try and smile as much as possible. Try and friendly and try and be positive as much as possible. Divyansh, inappropriate questions, बोले तो at times there are questions which you have absolutely no clue about, right? And questions which really makes you think that you do not belong there. So it could be and it actually is a very important thing to sort of deal with, because they are what they're doing is they are basically testing you how would you reply in pressure. So keep smiling even if you do not know the answer about, or if you are not aware, or if you do not want to talk about the question. You can go ahead and say, sir, I would not be interested, or I would not be able to answer that. If you can move to another question, it will be more than great for me. Rick, it could be anything. So whatever achievements you have done for yourself, academic achievements, that can be written. So it could be a competition in which you have prepared, or it could be the results which you have gotten in 10th and 12th. It could be anything. Not really, Siddharth. ऋषिका, टिप्स फॉर सीवी एकदम स्टैंडर्ड बनाना है, कुछ ज़्यादा करना नहीं है. मेक श्योर दैट यू रन इट थ्रू वन ऑफ योर मेंटर्स और समबडी लाइक योर मॉम एंड डैड. दैट विल बी मोर देन सफिशिएंट. उससे ज़्यादा कुछ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. ऑल्सो गाइज, मेक श्योर यू आर rehearsing it in front of the mirror, as in how your face expression looks, and make sure that whatever you are stating or saying, it goes through somebody. It could be your parents, it could be your mentor, it could be your brother, brother, it could be your sister. But make sure that whatever you are going ahead and talking about in your as your answers is being run by someone, because it is extremely important to know someone else's perspective on that specific point which you have answered. All right, guys. So this was it. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you all the very best for your personal interview. Be truthful, be honest, show that you are determined and consistent. These are the two characteristic traits which will definitely get you through Symbiosis. Read a little bit about the ongoing general current affairs and a little bit of law. That will be more than sufficient. Do not think too much. Be normal, be succinct and short. That will definitely seal the deal. All right, I wish you all the best. I hope you crack one of the better universities which you have been targeting. And yeah, that's it. All right, guys, bye.